you know, I'm going to have an experience of the lifetime right now.
Oh, what are your plans?
See, I'm going to go through this Indigo flight to the Himalayas.
Oh,
Listen. Then I've booked this hotel, first Oberoi and then Trident.
oh,
Huh? Then I'm going to take an Airtel SIM card because their
oh.
range for other network operators,
Okay,
it's
okay.
and then finally looking at the Himalayas and using a boat headphone, I'm just
Oh,
going to chill. I'm not getting that. Hey folks, see Rachana Ranade here, and I welcome you all to a very interesting video wherein we are going to talk about unlisted shares, or they are also called as off-market shares. I'm sure you might be like, there are more than 5,000 companies which are listed on the stock exchange. Then why even talk about companies which are not listed on the stock exchange, right? There are going to be a lot of points for that, so we are going to discuss so many points in today's video. Something like, what are unlisted shares? Is it really worth investing in them? What are the points to consider? Risks associated with them? Tax implications, and how to invest in unlisted shares. Before we move on, just a quick disclaimer that whatever stocks that we had discussed in the pre bumper, they were just an example, not a recommendation. So, first, let's get started with the concept of what are unlisted shares, right? So, these are equities or financial instruments which are not listed on any recognized stock exchange, something or recognized on an established stock exchange is what I can say, something like BSE or NSE. Now, these are also known as OTC shares or over the counter shares, right? Now, if I were to give you a few examples, 7 examples, right? First example can be of Swiggy. You might have placed an order on Swiggy. You might have used the products of both. You might have heard of Oyo. You might have traveled to Cochin International Airport. You might have traded on the National Stock Exchange. You might have used the services of HDB Financial Services. And number 7, you might be a big supporter of CSK. Hashtag Thala for a reason, right? But whatever examples I took right now, all are just examples. None of them is a stock recommendation, right? Now, coming back to the discussion, I'm sure you have either heard of or used any of the services of all the companies that I mentioned right now. And many a times, a customer does get emotionally attached to the company, and that person feels that rather than just being a customer, now I want to become an investor or the owner of that company. Now, to do that, what is important is you should be able to invest in such unlisted shares. Earlier only HNIs or big ticket size investors were allowed to invest in such unlisted shares, but not anymore. Now, people like you and me, basically the retail individual investors, can also invest in unlisted shares through apps like Incred Money. Well, not only through their app, you can also invest through their website or their online platform, and that too absolutely seamlessly. Now, why did I say seamlessly? Because there is no minimum investment criteria. So basically, you can start investing with just one share as well. They also have zero fees, charges, or brokerage. They have a very strong support team. Basically, their finance experts can solve your queries. They also have very competitive pricing, and also whatever shares you buy, they'll be credited to your demat account. If you still want to know more about Incred Money, please don't forget to check out the links in the description box and in the pinned comment. But wait, just because you know that you can invest in unlisted shares, does it really mean that you have to directly jump and buy? Absolutely not. You have to know a lot more things about unlisted shares and then take your own decision. Now, let's start with again the basics. Why to invest, right? The basic important point can be that it offers you a good investment opportunity to enter into sectors which are very niche, and such an opportunity may not be available in the listed space. Now, again, just to give an example, not a recommendation, but let's say I'm a huge cricket fan, which I am, and I'm a huge Dhoni fan, again, which I am. So, if I were to invest in something like CSK or any other IPL team as well, no IPL team directly is listed on any stock exchange, right? So, what could be a possible opportunity? Possible opportunity could be I could check out for the investment opportunity in the unlisted space. Okay, so that's why I'm telling you that this gives you an opportunity to diversify your portfolio and to enter into such segments which are pretty much niche. Okay, second point is that you get an opportunity to invest into a company which is at a growth phase. Now, what do I mean by that? See, if you were to invest in a startup that's at a very, very nascent stage, and chances of the company failing could also be high. So, one is at a very nascent stage, one could be at a stage where it is already matured. So, both are two extreme ends. What could be a good mean, or what could be a sweet spot? It could be somewhere where you invest in the growth phase. Okay, so this investing in unlisted shares could give you an opportunity to enter into companies which are in their growth phases. And last but not the least, very, very important, I'm sure everyone will agree with me that getting an IPO allotment these days is a big task. So if you are really wanting to invest in some company for a long term, maybe, or for a long time, and if you're sure that yes, I'm going to stick around for, let us say, 5 years, 7 years later, la la la, and if it is available in the unlisted space, then why not try for investing in that company at an early stage itself? Okay, so I hope why is clear, but are there certain points to consider before investing? That's what we are going to check out in the next section of the video. Now, let's talk about the risks involved and also the points to consider before investing. First, let's understand the key points. Number one, whenever you are wanting to invest in unlisted companies, always remember that there is a sword of uncertainty which is hanging over your head. What do I mean by that? Is there a possibility that you invest in some company's shares and that company never gets listed? Absolutely, that's a possibility. Just an example on top of my mind is Farm Easy. There was a big buzz that it'll get listed right now, it'll get listed in 2 months, 4 months, whatever. It hasn't gotten listed even till date. Okay, so always remember, whenever you are planning to invest, just keep this in mind that there is a possibility that it may even never get listed. Okay, number two, whenever you invest in such a company and wow, if assume it gets listed, okay, post listing also you have a lock in period for 6 months. So you can't get something like a listing gain immediately on the listing day. Not possible. 6 months minimum holding is required. Number three, always remember that whenever you are wanting to invest in such companies, you have to check the fundamentals of such companies also. You'll ideally have to go through the reports, something like an annual report, some basic documents, and then you should ideally take your decision. But I'm sure you might be like, where will we get all these research related documents? I'm going to show that in the coming sections of the video. So stay tuned till the end, right? But before we move on to that, let's also understand about few more risks which could be involved. As I mentioned, one was about the possibility of getting listed or not, and like I mentioned, if it doesn't get listed, then what? Then it could lead to a difficulty in selling your own shares. What do I mean by that? Assume I have some shares of unlisted company, but if I don't find any buyer for that, it's there in my portfolio. See, I'm not saying that its value is zero. The value is there, but you are not able to liquidate it. You're not able to get money in return, right? So that is a risk. Next risk could be a lack of transparency. And what do I mean by that? If a company is listed, I'm sure everyone knows that after every quarter, you're required to show the performance of the company by giving a limited financial statements for a quarter on quarter comparison, a year on year comparison. But for unlisted space, it's not mandatory to give disclosures every quarter. Finding documents like investor presentation, con call transcripts may also be a big task. So again, there could be some lack of information for you to take a decision and invest in such a company. And of course, one more important point is that there could be a lack of analyst coverage as well. And what do I mean by that? Whenever it's a listed company, a lot of analysts initiate coverage on certain stocks. They'll do their own analysis, they'll publish their own reports, but such analyst coverages don't generally happen for unlisted space. So again, same thing, there is a lack of accessibility of information, and that is the reason why you have to understand that this could also lead to one of the risks. Now let's understand one more important aspect, which is about taxation. So let's compare the taxation aspect. As I mean, we'll do a comparison between listed versus unlisted. Okay. Now, if I were to understand the holding period, which determines whether the capital gain that you have gotten, is it a short term capital gain or a long term capital gain? For that, the holding period for listed is 12 months if I'm talking about equity, but if I'm talking about unlisted space, it is 24 months. Okay, so the holding period itself is different. Now, if I were to talk about a short term capital gain, if I'm talking about the listed space, short term capital gain is taxed at the rate of 20%, but in the unlisted space, whatever gain you enjoy, that will be taxed as per your slab rates. So if you're into the 30% slab rate, you will be taxed at that higher rate, right? But if I'm talking about long term capital gain, everyone knows now the long term capital gain has been revised to even 12.5%. If I'm talking about unlisted space, it is still 20%. It is proposed to go down to 12.5%, but not yet. As I shoot the video, it is still at 20%. So, all in all, I hope you have understood that the taxation is a shade higher in the unlisted space. Well, now that you have understood the concept of unlisted shares, I've also told about what are the factors that you should consider before taking your final decision. We have talked about the risks involved, we have talked about the taxation, and so many more things. Now, after listening to all these, if you feel that yes, I want to invest, then the question is where to find the data, how to invest, how to get started. For that, let's check out the website of Incred Money. Now, if you check here, you will understand that I'll just scroll down a little bit, and here you will see their current offerings. Okay. I'm sure this one might have caught your attention right now, but there are a lot more which are also available, right? So if I were to go with CSK as an example, I'll just click on view details. If I scroll down, you can see their fundamentals, few data related to their fundamentals, something like their PE ratio, the market capitalization, debt to equity, book value, some fundamental points are given. Key financials are also given here. If you check, we have P&L, we also have the balance sheet here. You'll get data about their shareholding pattern. You will also get a ready-made sheet on what are their strengths and what are their weaknesses, and also you'll get some information about their company. Now, very important point is, if you scroll down, you will find the documents part here. You'll find the annual reports for all the years which are available, and if you just see here you can just check whichever are the units. You can just hit on invest now, and that is how you can get started. So this is just an example of Chennai Super Kings that I gave. I hope you have understood so many points about investing in unlisted shares today. If you still have any other question, please ask your questions in the comment section. Me and my team will try our level best to answer all your queries, right? I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please don't forget to smash the like button. Please don't forget to share this video with your friends. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Jai Hind and bye bye.